Hello, livestock friends, and welcome to this edition of Before the Bid. This is a podcast dedicated to the livestock sales industry where we go behind the scenes of the operation and speak straight to the sellers. We discuss topics about the important aspects of their operation, location, the people behind the prep work, and talk about some of the animals that will be offered to you, the prospective buyers. Hopefully, you've got your sale catalog close by. You might have to go look through that pile on your desk. But if not, then you're probably like me and driving down the road or busy with chores around the farm. And that's okay too. Wherever you are and whatever you're doing, I hope you enjoy this segment of Before the Bid. I'm your host, Andy Howell. Welcome to this edition of Before the Bid podcast, and this session I am very, very excited to talk to a good friend of mine, talk about a herd that is growing and vastly right here in the state of Indiana, and I'm talking to a guy today that is a second-generation cattleman, a guy that has spent a little bit of time up in Wisconsin, and he was up at Riley Brothers for 11 years. And he's always been an Angus guy, and then he has moved here to Indiana, and now he is the head of genetics and herd development at Linz Heritage Angus. And so I want to welcome my good friend Glenn Davis to the podcast today to talk about the Linz Heritage Angus bull sale that they're going to have January 25th, 2020, right up there at Crown Point, Indiana. So, Glenn, welcome to the podcast, and, man, I appreciate you joining me today.
Thank you very much, Andy. I'm very happy to do it, and very excited to kind of hear how it all turns out and what people think.
Right, yeah, Glenn. If you don't know Glenn Davis, you need to get to know this guy. Just a guy that's full of energy, and a guy that you can tell he loves the Angus cattle. He loves the Angus cattle business. He loves the business that he's in, and I'm going to let him tell you just a little bit about that again. But just a great guy, Glenn Davis is. And Glenn, I know your family as well, and why don't you introduce your family to everybody here just a little bit?
Yes, I've got my wife Sarah, of course, and then I've got actually 5 children. I have 3 older daughters that still reside in Wisconsin. 2 of them are married. We have Lacey, Melanie, and then Taylor. They all still live in Wisconsin. Taylor's unmarried, if anyone's interested. And then I have Brooke and Trevin. They're my 2 that are still in high school that moved to Indiana with us. So we do go to Wisconsin quite a bit to see the kids and the grandkids. I have 2 grandkids, Trey and Etta. So that's really made our lives even more interesting. Of course, they get all Angus presents when Christmas comes. So the kids are excited when we come because we get some cool stuff whenever we go to Angus events. So they really love that, and the kids are really excited to see it. And of course, they all already own cattle. So I've got them way advanced on their way to being junior members.
Going to help out the Indiana
2 and 4,
or help out the junior Angus Association, right?
Yes. Unfortunately, the 2 grandkids are going to help Wisconsin, but that's all right. There's some awful good people up there, and that was the interesting part, Andy, about moving to Indiana. It was very scary for my children. You know, how they'd be accepted, how we would be accepted as an Angus breeder down here. And I must say, it's been 100% incredible welcome. I must say, I now have 2 home states, is really what it comes down to. The people in Indiana are absolutely incredible to us. And to my children, Junior Association, and could not be happier how things turned out. It was very scary at first, I'll promise you. Moving down with the kids. In fact, we did not buy a house till we were here a year, till I knew for sure the kids were going to blend.
Right.
And now, of course, we're Hoosiers. So,
you can be Boilermakers. It's okay on this show.
We could, but actually, unfortunately, we are still Badger fans.
Right.
I can't beat that out of 53 years of living. I can't get that out of me. But we do. Unfortunately, I guess we do like Notre Dame. So the kids kind of say that's okay to like them because they weren't in the Big Ten.
Right.
So that part's all right. Of course, we're Blackhawk fans. We've always liked Blackhawk, the hockey.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, we will never ever cheer for the Bears. That I can promise you all. We are green and gold, true and true. And if they kick us out of the state for that, I guess we're going to have to go.
Well, that's great. That's great.
We're definitely Packer fans.
Yeah, good. And you and Sarah have jumped right into this junior association, and now you guys are Indiana Junior Association advisors as well.
Yes, and that was actually something Cody Sankey asked me, and I told Cody I was very limited on time, but I volunteered my wife very quickly, and actually she's the main advisor. I just try to help at the big events, but she's the one that really handles everything. So I'm very happy for that because it really, by her becoming one of the top advisors, it really helped my children blend with all the other kids too. That really helped.
Right.
So what happened as kind of a circumstance, lucky deal, really came to be a great thing. We're very happy to do it. And the kids, like I said, the kids in Indiana have been exceptional, just exceptional. Welcome for us.
And you guys do such a great job. I get text messages all day from Sarah sending out the mass text for the association and for the juniors and letting them know what all the news and upcoming things are. And so want to thank you guys and congratulate you guys for the great things that you guys do. Jumping right in here to the association, and you've been here 5 years in Indiana, correct?
Yes, it'll be 5 years in March. The family moved down that summer. We waited till Junior Nationals to move because of the show cattle.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, I've been here since March, and they moved here in July.
Good. Well, that's great.
Yeah. So that was, like I say, and it's I can't even tell people enough of how smooth the move was in the transition. It was incredible.
That's great.
Yeah, just incredible.
Great. And the guy that runs your operation or runs the Linz Heritage Angus, Fred Linz, tell us just a little bit about Freddie and about the family, and introduce them just a little bit if you would.
Well, let me put it to you this way: if you don't know Fred Linz, you need to know him. He's very, very interesting man. I would have never moved my family if I did not believe in what he's doing. He's a third generation meat processor. Started out with a big butcher shop in Chicago back in 1964. His grandpa did. Of course, as times changed in the 70s and the early 80s, butcher shops became somewhat obsolete. And so they had to make a change. And Fred's the one, when he came on, he's very proud of the fact that he's the one that had the idea to go door to door to steakhouses. And that was kind of how it began, switching over from a retail to a wholesale. Again, Fred, he tries a lot of things. I mean, he's the only one of the few meat processors in this country that owns his own genetic herd, owns his own steers. I mean, he is a full service meat company. We supply some pork, some chicken, some veal, some other assorted meat products, some other proteins to our steakhouses. Fred was smart enough there because you don't really want two vendors knocking on your door every week. So he was smart about that. He made a lot of good moves, but the biggest move was really that got me was his vision for the future of the meat industry. Right now, we are in serious troubled times as far as what the press thinks about the meat industry. Fred is a leader in education to consumers, and very, very much needed right now. I mean, everyone does their part. Of course, you see on Facebook and everywhere else, everyone's talking constantly about the good in meat, but Fred actually does it publicly. He speaks publicly. goes to steakhouses. Fred trains every single chef and every single wait staff of any restaurant that we supply meat to, which was brilliant because then those people are able to speak to the public about our product and why it's safe and why we own them the whole time. The other thing that it does, we are so genetically superior now at Meats by Linz that every steak that we have, that we sell, if a consumer would want to take a chunk of that steak and pay for a DNA test, we can tell them exactly where that calf was born. And there's no other meat company in the world that has that capability right now other than us.
Oh, wow.
So we're doing a lot of things that most meat companies wouldn't have dreamed of. I mean, us owning our own genetic herd was a great, great endeavor by Fred. So, I mean, Fred's vision is really second to no one I've ever met. I mean, you talk about an excited man. He loves the meat industry. Now he loves the cattle industry. I got to say, he is a boss that actually, there's no question he loves what he does. Absolutely loves it. His sons are now taking over. His oldest son is now runs the meat plant, which is in Cal City, Illinois, and they're thinking on moving it to Indiana. They're trying. They've been trying for a couple of years, but evidently it's a little harder than you would think. They have about 400 employees, at the meat plant. We deliver meat all over the world. I mean, from Japan, China, Bahamas, Costa Rica, everywhere, Cuba. Let's see, England. We deliver it to cruise ships, of course, everywhere in America, and all over Canada. Anywhere there's a top-end steakhouse, we've either attempted to get with them or we're with them already. We do some chain restaurants. We do Cheesecake Factories. That's the biggest chain that we do. But that's not that's not what we're about. We're more about premier steakhouses but we need the bigger ones too, of course. But I don't know all the places we serve, but I know a lot of them. A lot of the famous ones like Elmo's right here in Indianapolis. Manning's up in Minneapolis is another very famous steakhouse. I don't want to leave anybody out. Hopefully no one's listening. But as far as steakhouse owners are concerned,
I've got a list of them. I can help you out if you need me to.
Yeah, Jeff Ruby's, and I mean, it's out of my division, but I've been to a lot of them. Believe me, I've helped with the wait staff training and that kind of thing. The first few years I was here. Now we're a little busy, but that's what Meats by Linz is all about. That's what Fred's vision was. Fred wanted to bring a locally raised product, to his meat company, and everything has to be branded now. Our government G schedule is one of the highest in the industry. We're an all Angus program. We are not 50% Angus. We are 100% Angus. So when you go to our feedlots, we also feed all our cattle out. Not all of them. I shouldn't say all of them, but for our specialty program, for the Linz Heritage program, everything is fed in Nebraska at 5 different feedlots. That was Fred's vision also. So we sell our genetics to people. They use our bulls or our semen, and then we go on and we buy the steers back and we feed them all out at Nebraska. We feed some in Indiana here. We feed a couple thousand in Indiana. So we try to buy all the Indiana steers we can now too, and that part just developed this year. So that's very good news for the Indiana breeders. So we basically want to be a full-service shop. We want our hands on the animal from birth or from conception all the way to the plate. So that's kind of Fred's vision, and that's what Fred has to, that's what he's done. So that's kind of a quick synopsis of where Fred Linz got into this or how he got in.
Good, that's great. Yeah, a couple more of those steakhouses, just so we don't leave anybody out. STK, most of these are fancy enough. I've never eaten at them. STK, Ditka's, which
Yep.
Ditka's did the female sale. Was it last year? Is that right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I should have never left Ditka's out there. Very good friends of ours. Ditka's, Michael Jordan's.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I can run down the list. If you got a few more, but those are the people that really, really work with us. You know, these are our bread and butter steakhouses. Maple and Ash, another one right downtown Chicago. Of course, a lot of Chicago stations carry us. You know, I unfortunately, and I apologize to anyone out there that I don't know all the steakhouses, of course.
Right.
You know, and just because that's not my end of the deal. I know them just because I hear them spoke over and over and over from, you know, many of our people. Plus, I've done wait staff training for quite a few of them. Jeff Ruby's, of course, down in Ohio and Tennessee. I've done wait staff trainings with them. And what you really do, what I learned from Fred Linz is what you really do is you teach the chefs. The chefs are key to all this. The chefs are where you teach a chef about steaks and the quality of steaks and where they come from. And if you have a consistent product, the chefs will sell the meat. Meaning, if a chef leaves his restaurant and goes to a new restaurant, he takes his meat man with him. And that is, Fred Linz taught me that also. That is a big, big deal. You take care of the chefs. Teach them all you can. They're the driving force in the meat industry.
Great.
That was something that, you know, I didn't know. I didn't know that before I joined him.
Great.
It was shocking to me that Fred almost spends more time with the chefs than he does with the owners.
That's really cool. Yeah, it starts right there. Yeah, if they don't have it,
Yeah.
if the chefs don't have it right, the customer doesn't have a great eating experience.
Exactly. The chefs and the wait staff, they're the ones that have to promote our product, the beef industry. They are taking care of the beef industry.
Right.
You know, at a high level. So they're all trained. It's amazing. You know, if there's any kids out there listening, being a chef or being a waiter or a waitress at one of these major restaurants is a very profitable life. If you enjoy the meat industry, that's not the worst way to go. There's tremendous job opportunities in this industry.
Right. You brought up a lot of things that I wanna ask you about. Again, Fred, when Fred started, he did not own those. He did not own those cattle, of course, that they were were using for the meat plant. But then you guys, several years ago, you guys have started your own herd and had that vision. Can you explain just a little bit about how you guys got that started? And in Indiana, I mean, Indiana is a great place, of course, but being known for large amounts of cattle might not be what Indiana's known for. So can you walk us through that just a little bit?
Well, what really happened was Chris Earl is a very good friend of mine and another cattle breeder. He's got a great herd down in New Mexico, reverse rocking our ranch. And one of my better friends for 32, 33 years now. And Chris Earl was at the National Restaurant Association in Chicago in May, basically, I believe, 6 to 7 years ago. Well, Chris met Fred Linz at his booth because they have a booth at the Restaurant Association. And Chris had a cowboy hat on. So immediately Fred grabbed him and said, who the hell are you? So he grabbed him, and Chris come over and said, well, I raise meat. And at that time, Chris was trying to get a local program going also. And he told Fred he would take him and introduce him to some cattle people. So what happened was I got a call from Chris when I was at Riley Brothers, and Chris said, hey, can I bring a meat guy up to meet you? And I said, you bet. So we laid out the carpet for him, and he came up. Of course, Riley Brothers fed about 5,000 steers out a year, so we had everything. Riley Brothers, we had the cow calf, and then we had the steers. Well, Fred came up, and he just fell in love with that. So he started killing the Riley Brothers steers, and they were phenomenal. The problem we ran into was he needed a bigger packing plant. We were killing them, and the cost of killing them was way too much. So we figured out all those problems logistically, and we went with Nebraska Prime in Nebraska, which was a perfect size kill plant for our operation. And so what happened was then I was actually looking to leave Riley Brothers. They were in good hands. My son-in-law runs that operation now. Chad Morrissey runs Riley Brothers. So they were in good hands, and I wanted to do more for the Angus breed. So I actually called Fred for a letter of recommendation. And that's how it began. And Fred wrote me a letter, a very nice letter. I got to commend him there. It was very nice. And next thing you know, he calls me and says, "What are you doing?" I said, "Well, I'm going to go down for a job interview with the Angus Association." And Fred said, "Well, are you leaving Riley Brothers for sure?" And I said, "Yes, for sure. I want to do more for the Angus breed." And Fred said, "When you're done with that interview, would you call me?" So as you can tell, the call was a good call afterward. And Fred and I came up with the plan then to start Fred's herd. And Fred had already bought a farm, before I even, came to him. And he was just going to originally start just a little 10, 20 cow herd. Well, once he hired me, we had the vision then to raise a little bit more elite cattle. His first 10 cows were basically $2,000 cows with calves at sides. So the pedigrees and the genetics weren't quite there on those first 10. And he bought those actually, before I ever came to him. And so he bought this farm. He wanted to do more. And so what we did, we started buying donors because we're a heavy flush herd. And so we have many co-op herds also. We have co-op in Montana, Nebraska, Iowa, and Wisconsin. So as things started to build up, Fred kept buying cows and buying donors. And now today we're a top 20 in the Angus breed for registrations. And we're Indiana's largest seed stock herd. And, a lot of people have asked us, why the hell are you in Indiana? And the real reason is, back to what we discussed earlier, we bring a lot of people right to the plant, and then they get the whole feel for it. They get to go out and touch and feel and see cows. So they come directly from and I'm talking people from around the world, not just, Americans. All our foreign, we get tons of Japanese. They love coming to the farm. They're probably the best tour that I give is the Japanese people. They're incredible people. And they love it, and they're interesting. But we get many tours, and all these people come, and they go to the plant, and then they go out and they see the actual donor mothers of the bulls and that we sell semen and that we sell steaks on. And when they leave, trust me, they're not going anywhere but Linz. That's it. Mm-hmm. When they can see full circle the meat industry, it's a huge selling point. So Fred was very smart in buying a farm that was only 35 miles or 35 minutes from the kill plant or from the processing plant. But the big thing is, you've been there before, Andy. It's not exactly ideal cattle country.
Right.
So we do have some things that are tough to deal with. We are 100% surrounded by houses. So that makes it tough. We will never expand on that farm. So we have expanded south. We bought other farms to the south. But anyway, we're at the point now where we're trying to get a feel for how many cattle we can really produce and still be profitable. So right now we're actually shrinking in size. We're being very strict about genetics right now. I mean, we are very strict. I mean, if it's not elite, the cow's going, and it's that simple. And we did that on purpose. We grew enough with genomics. Nowadays you just get a big difference in 5 sisters. So some of the sisters are leaving, even though they've got a very famous cow behind them. But it's just a decision we made, and we're sticking to it. And so we're getting better and better. I mean, for a lot of people, can't believe that a herd that's only been in existence for basically 5.5 years, the progress we've made. I mean, and a lot of that has to do with Fred, because Fred always jokes, we don't have that many calf crops left in us because we're the same age. And he laughs about it. I don't find it that funny, but he laughs. And he says, we can't mess around and waste one. He doesn't want to waste a calf crop. And so he bought a lot of very good donors. And when I say very good donors, we buy a mass different donors. We try to get specific genetics, but in a different package. Even though they're Angus, we've got a lot of cows that are high yearling weight. We've got a lot of cows that are low birth weight. We try a little of that. We try some show cattle. Not a lot. We don't do a lot of showing, but my daughter shows, and that. So we've got those also, but we buy some high dollar beef cattle and some not as high dollar beef cattle. And, we buy terminal cattle, we buy the high marbling cattle, we'll buy the terminal. And then we buy some that are basically for making cows, because what we sell to is a mass variety of people. We're not just a herd. Out west, you can be a single trade herd. Whatever your area you're in, you can raise bulls that work in your area, in your geographic region.
Mm-hmm.
Here in Indiana, it's a little different.
Mm-hmm.
We have to be able to sell to many different clients that want marbling, clients that want milk. We got clients that purely want calving needs. I mean, when we're selling semen and selling bulls to people that are in our Linz Heritage Angus steer program, they pretty much have to, what we find with our high marbling cattle, we can run into some other problems. When you single trait select, but yet we still want that marbling for our Angus division,
mm-hmm.
but yet they still want cows. So if you see what I'm saying, Andy, we sell a lot of maternal type females to the same people that we sell the terminal bulls to. They'll breed two groups of cows, one to keep daughters and one to kill.
Mm-hmm.
And we've been very successful at it. And that was our game plan from the beginning, was to not limit ourselves on our customer base. We're very fortunate here. Like I said, I'm a lifetime Angus breeder. So we had many friends. I had many friends in many different groups. And when I say groups, I mean groups of breeders in this country. And you know as well as I do, Andy, there's all kinds of groups. There's many groups of Angus breeders, and some, believe in sticking with their group. Our belief is we want to have as many groups and friends as possible. And that was one of our things that we were very strict about when we started our herd. We definitely did not want a herd of all similars, like a lot of bull producers in the West do, which works very well for them. But here in Indiana, we had to be diversified.
Exactly right.
So that was kind of our game plan. That was our game plan coming in. When you come to our bull sale, you'll see, you come to our female sale, we'll have anything from breed leading dollar beefs all the way down to below breed average dollar beefs. And you will be amazed at which ones sell for more. In fact, I myself am amazed every year at what the high seller is. There's that many people in this world that like things different. And it's a damn good thing people do.
Right.
That everybody doesn't like the same thing. So it's just, all you need is two buyers to tie into one, and things can really go well. I'm fascinated by it, the industry. I mean, not just in the Angus. I mean, just the beef industry in general is an incredible industry.
Right. Yeah. And yeah, just to reiterate, I've been to the female sale a couple of times, and yes, you're exactly right. People from all over the country, even all over the world, and people from all the other different niches and different little industries here in the Angus and from different worlds, and so of course, I commend you guys on what you do and doing that, and how many people come to that great facility that you guys have up there, and we'll talk about that here just a little bit later. So something else that I wanted you to explain to us just a little bit, you talk about this steer buyback program that you guys have started, and I know that you spend a lot of time on the road. We were trying to get this thing put together, and you were gone for 6 days and out talking to people, and explain just a little bit about this steer buyback program. How would somebody get into this buyback program, and what does it what does it entail?
Well, when we first started the steer buyback program it would have been 5 years ago, but the first steers went on feed 4 years ago. Of course, when we started, I went with known genetics. So, of course, we went with a lot of Riley genetics. And when we first started, we went on Superior, just like anyone else, bought steers off Superior, bought a lot of different genetics. But what we did, we also went out and met people that would talk to us. The word got out that we were buying steers. So what we really wanted was, we want to have consistent stakes. So the steer buyback program gets to use a certain group of bulls, and we've widened that now just because of what I had just told you about the terminal and the maternal.
Mm-hmm.
So what happened was we started buying steers, and we were all over the park. We were buying them, all over the country, and we're starting to narrow it down. We're getting better because we're having our own bull sales. This is our third bull sale, and we're trying to get it to where it's mostly our genetics. But Andy, of course, you can understand, to find new clients and new customers, they're not going to have our genetics yet.
Right.
And so a lot of our genetics that come through the plant right now are still not Linz genetics. So we are always welcome to new customers, always. Don't ever fear calling us, because we're always welcome in new customers, because you've got to start sometime. As you get into the program, Andy, the first thing everybody always says to me, Andy, and you'll laugh, nobody ever asks me anything except how much of a bonus are we getting? That's
right.
The first question they say. And, of course, then I've got to answer that with, you've got to have some faith in us also. We've got to kill your first group of steers. So what we normally try to do with a new customer, say you sell 200 steers, we'll try to buy a load. We'll try to buy half of them or 70 of them. We'll feed them, of course, with beef, that's not a quick process. Takes another year. And we'll get the kill data. And if the kill data is good, the next year we'll try to buy them without you having to ship them to market. And then as they get to be better customers, they'll start AIing. They start keeping the females. Eventually, Andy, you have to use probably 80% Linz genetics in your herd. And which mainly is because that's the genetics that we want the steaks out of. Because believe it or not, Andy, there's a difference. There
Right.
really is a difference, even in the Angus breed. If you get your females and your males, and they're all similar, the consistency of the steak is amazing. It's amazing. So that's what our real goal is, Andy. And that's why, a lot of people say, well, you're just trying to sell bulls. And don't get me wrong, the steer buyback program drives our bull sale already. Even though it's only our third bull sale, we are very fortunate because they become good customers. If they like the product they get, they come back. And so it's not a hard sell, Andy. The hardest part is getting through the first year when it's not our genetics. And Andy, cattle can be fooled. You can be fooled with cattle. A lot of cattle can be black and look good, but they won't cut well.
Mm-hmm.
And the other thing about the Linz program you got to remember is we are a primary prime company. Prime is king at Linz. Prime and high choice are basically all we sell to our top end steakhouses. So to get that is very hard. And what the real way to get it is maturity, Andy. Mm-hmm. Maturity, so we can't take our steers, the Angus breed, you can ship a steer to market at 12 to 13 months, no problem. They'll weigh 1,400 pounds at a year. Mm-hmm. But we don't want that at Linz. At Linz, you have to feed it to 16 months, 17 months, because your prime rate triples when you get out past 14, anywhere from, depending on the genetics again, but when you get out to that 15 months to 17 months, your prime rate skyrockets. Now, is that economically smart? Probably not. So what we do, we try to raise genetics. If you notice, most Linz genetics is extremely high growth. So what we want is, we want those animals to be able to grow and actually hit approximately, like the females, we want them around 1,350 at kill, and the males we want basically anywhere from 1,350 to 1,450. And so we do kill heifers also, if everybody didn't catch that. And that's kind of the weight we want them. So to get them to that weight without excess fat, at some point in the program, you've got to coast them. You got to put them on grass, put them on haylage or hay to get age. Because an Angus animal, if you push right from birth, it'll be too quick. Now you'll still get prime, but you won't get the kind of prime that we needed. That's why we struggle a little bit, and we're learning, Andy. Don't get me wrong, we're not perfected by any means yet on the steer buyback. Mm-hmm. We learned a great deal of lessons just in the kind of cattle we can buy, the weight we can buy. We really like to buy the cattle green. We like to buy them, right off the cow, 550, 600 pounds, whatever the steers weigh. And because then we can control them and take them right to grass or right to a very low energy ration. We do buy a ton of steers at that, 700 to 900 pounds because we need steers year round, of course, Andy.
Mm-hmm.
So we do buy a lot of steers at a heavier weight, but our preferred weight is the young ones because the heavy ones, once they're 900 pounds, you can't hold them back. You can't kick them to grass then.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, we're learning these things, and we, like I said, we go with our customer. Our after these last 4.5 years now of killing cattle, we have found some incredible customers. And as what happens, Andy, the other unique thing about us, Fred feeds steers out, but that was not the original goal. So so he still does because we have to do this program. But our best customers, Andy, as they start to see their kill data, because we will give them their kill data back, which very few people like to do that because then they know if you've got good cattle.
Right.
And so we'll give them their kill data back, and when they see their kill data, and we'll show them the sheet of the bonuses that we receive for the prime and the high choice. The next year they'll own them with us.
Mm-hmm.
They'll keep a third. They'll keep a quarter. They'll keep a half. Our best customers, right away when they call the next year and say they only want to sell half the steers. Mm-hmm. Then they're proud of their product. And what we really want in the end is people that are proud of their product. Andy, I've traveled the country my first couple of years, and everyone you talk to has the best cattle in the world.
Right.
And everyone better think that. You better think you're doing right. But unfortunately, in reality, Andy, not everyone does. And unfortunately, Andy, the end all is the kill plan. Mm-hmm. And so, like I said, it's a very tough job picking steers. It's very tough. Mm-hmm. You can pick some very good looking steers, and the market is the big problem. So we've had some real butt kickings on the steer buyback program, and we learned a lot of lessons. But it doesn't deter Fred at all because we have to have it. We've got to perfect it. It's something he will not give up, and we will perfect it. That's the kind of man Fred Linz is, that we will get this perfected to where it's profitable every group of steers. And I know that's hard to say because, the market is what really hurts you. Mm-hmm. If he doesn't want to make a lot of money in the steer buyback, it's basically a part of our program. And if you can't hedge, then you're naked. Mm-hmm. In the last 2 years, you couldn't hedge. So, this meat industry's been a little bit in turmoil, of course, as everyone knows. And the last couple of years have been tough for the cattle feeder. Mm-hmm. And the cow-calf man. Been tough for both. It seems like the only one really making money right now was the packer. Mm-hmm. And and history says, the three of us don't always make money together, very seldom.
Right.
All three make money, and we've learned that. Fred's learned the hard way. Right. You don't always make money in when you own the steers, but it's working. We're getting to where we're buying the kind of cattle that we want. Like I said, we're getting a lot of people now that actually have our females in their herd, mm-hmm. which is really starting to help. Our prime rate has really gone up this last year, and a lot of it, Andy, is just us being a little more particular. And again, any steer can make you money, but you have to buy it at the right price. And anyone that wants to be in our program, Andy, is not a price guy. They want a premium. Mm-hmm. If they want to be in our program, they want a premium. And like say the second year is when we can find out. The first year, like I said, we try to buy a load or two out of each guy, and then the next year is when we really get after it. If they do well. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of the steer buyback in a nutshell. There's many other things I'm missing, but that's kind of what we do, and that's kind of why we want our own genetics in it. Is we are running. There's lots of other tests. We are an advanced company. There's a lot of stuff I won't even go into that we're doing. Right. Doing a lot of stuff with Zoetis. A lot of new things coming out that are going to amaze people, not just from us, but from Zoetis and all genomic companies. We're a big genomic herd, so You can tell I drink the Kool-Aid. I mean, we're seeing it. We're seeing it come to tuition now, and we're seeing it work.
Mm-hmm.
On the kill data. We're hoping to do a very large test of a very high-tech deal that we've got coming down the pipe here, where it'll be registered cows. We're going to have steers out of registered, where we'll have genomics on mother and father, very accurate, and we're going to see if we can take it to a whole nother level as far as figuring out what cattle are the best to feed.
Great.
And that's really our goal, is to find out what's best. So we're really working on that right now. Zoetis has been sensational with us. Of course, the Angus Association will work with us on anything we want. And so, like I said, Andy, we're getting our hands around it. It's getting better every year.
Great.
The buyback program is.
Great. Yeah. And you guys,
we do a lot of research.
Right. And you guys have your own sires. We can get into some of those sires that you guys have to offer. You talk about getting your genetics into those herds. You guys have several sires in several different bull studs that you guys are offering genetics on and offering semen on. And let's go into those just a little bit here, and then we'll kind of work our way into these sale bulls here. But if you would, tell us about those sires that you guys have available.
Yes, I'll tell you. I'll go over the Linz bulls first. Mm-hmm. But Fred does buy a lot of sires. In fact, Andy, we're going to start being a major player in the semen selling industry. We're buying a lot of sires now that we can prove through our program. We'll have real kill data on a lot of sires, and we're not concerned about selling semen on them the first year or two. We want proof first. Mm-hmm. So we're buying a lot of other sires. I'll go over some of the Linz sires. We sold the second high selling bull last year at our bull sale was Linz Driving Force 7953. He's at CMEX. He's another $200 beef bull, but he's a different kind of $200 beef bull. He's not a super high marbling bull. He's only 0.36, but he's exceptional growth at 166. He's the highest growth son of his sire. He's a very high dollar C bull. He's the highest dollar C bull of his sire, which is KCF Bennett Fortress. But he's an all-around extremely powerful bull. And he's our bull, again, he's one of our maternal sires. He's out of one of our greatest donors, 4202, which is the cow that Crazy K and Modesto Pines bought in our last sale for $125,000. She, at this point now, she's had 11 sons sell for an average of $17,500. So a very sought-after cow. Slightly different genetics than what you would think from a meat company, but a very powerful. It's basically our big growth cow. So we use any son out of her for growth when we do when we sell semen to people. We want, if their herd lacks growth, he's the bull that we send in. The next bull that I would probably talk about would be Linz Shifting Gears. Now, he's exactly the opposite bull. He's at Cattle Visions, and he's an extremely short gestation bull. He's a -1.6 on birth and a tremendous calving bull. Absolute sleep all night bull, but he still has a ton of growth. He's 132 at a year, and he's one of the highest dollar C bulls and dollar B bulls that is so negative on birth. One of the top in the breed. And we sold him for $125,000 at the Vegas sale. We sold him, he was an odd age bull. So we sold him at the Las Vegas Angus sale out there with the Hall of Fame. And that was one of our very first high selling bulls. Then we raised last year's bull sale again. We had Linz Exemplify 71124. Now he was our first bull that, he was our high selling animal of all time for our company, but he has been our high semen selling bull. We have two partners on him. We chose not to go to stud with him because he was so expensive, but he has got numbers that we really believe will really entice the breed. He's 0.9 on birth, yet he's still 150 at a year. He's $188 beef with a $306 C. But what he's known for is he's out of Confidence Plus, who's one of the top Angus bulls for birth, growth, and all-around look and dollar beef. the thing Confidence Plus lacked was testicle size, and this bull excels at scrotal. So he's been a very popular choice for Angus breeders. We don't use much of him in any commercial herds yet, just because it's hard enough just to keep up with the demand for him on Angus breeders. We sold another Confidence Plus bull, which we were very proud of, to Alta Genetics, and he was called Linz Confidential. He also sold in last year's sale. Another monster numbered Confidence Plus bull at $154 for a year, $188 beast, and a $321 seed. A little more compact bull, which Confidence Plus is known for, so we will use him heavily in the program and prove him. We used another bull. The first bull we had that went to Gen X was Linz Accuracy, 2397-6006. Now, he's more of our maternal bull. He's a black cat May raised from the Schaff herd. He's out of 2397, the mother or the grandmother of all the great black cat Mays, Resource and Renown and all those great sons, the President, all that whole flush, Rainfall, Rain Dance. So he's out of that same family, only he's out of Active Duty, a bull that I raised at Riley's, which was a bull that I was very proud of. And he's more of our bull that is for a cow maker. He's the cow maker bull that we bring into people to get their females. We sold another bull to Gen X in last year's female sale. It was called Linz Specialized. He was he was an acclaimed son, a gender acclaim, but he's also one of the top numerical acclaims there is, and he's actually one of the best physical specimens out of that bull. He's more the right frame and size. Like I told you earlier, Andy, we're a growth herd, but we're a growth herd in width and depth. We are not a 7 or 8 frame herd. Mm-hmm. We like most of our cows being at that 6 frame. So all the growth numbers in our herd are very strict about the size and the shape of the bull. Mm-hmm. So those are a few of the bulls that we raised. Then we bought a bull last year to bring into the herd. His name was Pineview Forefront. Now he is the big carcass bull that we chose. He's 1.33 on marbling, but he had almost 8% IMF as a yearling, and an incredible ribeye, I believe a 16-inch ribeye, and he's another very, very good numbered bull. Now we're getting calves out of him right now, and we are selling semen to registered breeders on him. We did use him in the program. We're very anxious to kill the calves out of that bull, and he's a heavily Gardner bred bull, but he's very phenotypically attractive, and he's been very, very popular for us. Another bull we bought was 2S Top 10. Of course, he's a 10X son. Another one, very good carcass bull with excellent growth. As you notice, everything here at Linz has to have growth. Mm-hmm. And another bull we bought, he was another high seller. And we've got females out of him now in the program that are really starting to stroke it. Just an all-around very good bull. We've bought many other young sires now in the last 2 years, and all of them have to be proven through the program, as through the steer program, because we want kill data on all of them. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of just a quick shelf life of our bulls there. We've got the same kind of bulls, of course, coming this year, and hopefully there'll be a few bulls in this year's sale that will go to stud. We just bought another bull. We bought a President's son out at Tim Todd's Green Mountain Angus Ranch in Montana, which was out of our own cow. We bought it with Charles Herbster, and another very exceptional bull, but he'll be on the female end again. He, of course, is a brother to Driving Force, the bull that CMEX bought from us. So we're very high on him. We bought another bull from Vintage Angus. Ambassador was his name, and unfortunately we had an untimely death on him, but we do have like 6,000 units still frozen on him, so we still use him heavily, but very good first calf crop out of him. They're on the ground right now, and just in the last few weeks I've had many calls on that bull. So that's kind of the gist of it, Andy. We hope to get to around 30 sires. Mm-hmm. We also do a Holstein program. We sell a great deal of meat, or a great deal of semen, to Holstein breeders. Mm-hmm. And this is more of a new venture in the last year. But this venture is really taking off. I mean, you sell the semen cheap, so you can't sell your $150,000 bulls that way.
Right.
But it really works well for the suitcase type bull. A Holstein does not need a big growth bull. It needs a compact, more old-fashioned type Angus.
Right.
And again, like we talked earlier, that's the kind of herd we have. We have some of everything that way.
Mm-hmm.
And so we've been venturing into that, and we have about 40 sires right now out collecting for that program.
Wow.
And some of those will come through, and we will also use those sires for the Angus program as we see their carcass data come in. We'll switch them to the other program.
Mm-hmm.
So we're fairly busy, Andy.
Yeah, it sounds like it. Fairly busy, fairly diverse, and it seems like Fred and you are out to serve everybody in the beef industry.
Yes, that's kind of what we try to do. And again, like I told you, Andy, that's the reason I came to Fred Linz.
Mm-hmm.
I knew by coming here, I could use the gifts and the tools that God gave me to hopefully, improve the breed before I checked out of this place.
Before you have your last calf crop,
that's
right?
That's really all I'm about. Yeah, before the last calf crop falls. And it's funny you say that, Andy, because Fred brings that up all the time. He always tells me, we've only got maybe 12 or 14 calf crops left. And I said, boy, I hope I have more than that.
Right.
But he's kind of right, I guess. But hopefully by that time I won't be doing it as much, and I'll hopefully be directing some young lads.
Right.
So hopefully.
Good. Well,
we'll see.
That sounds great. Well, Glenn, let's get into this bull sale a little bit and get into these bulls. And first off, you guys have to have some people there at the farm to be taking care of these things while you and Fred are out on the road and getting these animals ready, getting these cattle ready, taking care of them. Will you just briefly just tell us who are some of those people that are there at the ranch and do some of that work?
Well, I'll tell you, we've got 4 full-time employees at the ranch. We have a full-time cattle buyer, as you can guess, from the steer buyback. I'll start with him, and Jerry Dean is his name. He was a cattle buyer for Nebraska Prime for 30 years for JBS. I mean, he's well-rounded in the business. And so he does all our cattle buyback, and he's out in Grand Island, Nebraska. So he lives very close to where the 5 feedlots are. The next is the people at the ranch. We try to hire college graduates. Not that matters. I mean, we'll hire anybody. A couple of them aren't, but the last 2 college hires we've made have been very successful. We hired Ben Weiss. He graduated Texas Tech, but he's from Iowa, so he's a good Midwest boy. His cattle knowledge was second to none for his age, second to none for any age, really. Very intelligent young man, and he runs the herd along with Dylan McLean, who's a UW. He's more my style. He was raised in Dubuque, Iowa, the same town I was born in, and then he went to UW Platteville, same place that I attended. And I was intrigued by Dylan for his work ethic and just a young kid. He paid for his own college. I mean, he's very good with money. He lacked some cow knowledge. He was not raised on a farm, but his grandfather had a farm. But he went through college breeding cows for Select Sires, and he has really, really gotten a hold of things and really become an incredible employee also. So both together, they make all the decisions. I'm kind of, I guess you could say I'm kicked off the farm anymore as far as decision making, which is good. I pretty much just oversee those 2. I don't have to do a whole lot. They know what they're doing. Every now and then I might say something, but not very often. And so those 2 are exceptional. Then we've got 2 other people. Dave Voss is Fred's uncle. He's retired, and he's been on the farm since it started. He's been there longer than me. He's an all-around incredible man. He's a Vietnam vet. I want to throw that in there. Mm-hmm. Very, very impressive man. Very strong man. Yeah, very strong. I don't think you'd want to meet him in an alley. And he's an all-around mechanic, handyman, takes care of anything Fred needs done. Not a cow man so much, but does everything else. The farm's big. There's a lot of other things going on. He'll fence and carpentry and clean and do, whatever we need done.
Mm-hmm.
Very good man. And then you have Deborah Painter, which is, Debbie's been with us for the last, I believe, 2 years. And Debbie's kind of the same way. She's jack of all trades, does everything. She will do, of course, she's good with cattle too. Cattle cleaning, just all around, taking care of all the husbandry and feeding, cleaning, going between the farms, just keeping track of everything. She does an awesome job for us also. And I do want to throw in also that Camille, Fred's better half, she also does a lot of the paperwork and keeps up, the billing, and which is a terrible amount of work. Keeping track of, who we owe, who we need, who has to owe us and all that. So she actually is another employee if you think of it that way. And then of course, Fred, he also helps her with all that. And so, I mean, really we're about an 8-man operation as of right now. And we're always growing and looking for more. Mm-hmm. So the farm has really been excellent. We've got some great employees. Really good. Very happy with that, with the crew.
Great, and it is an exceptional place. As I said, I've been there a couple times, and where the sale facility is, and that main farm, that's just really, really nice facility. Really practical, it seems, but very, very nice, and what a great facility that is.
Well, you do realize that I know why you come, Andy.
What's that?
You come for the meal. You come for the meal.
Well, that's exceptional as well.
I'm just teasing you.
That's exceptional as well.
I'm teasing you, but I can tell you anyone that's listening, you come to the Linz sale, and Andy comes, and Andy's a very good friend of ours, and I'm joking here, but the meal is second to none. It's worth the time just to come meet the people from around the country and enjoy the meal. And I think Andy would agree with me.
Right. Absolutely agree. And that's why I bring everybody else with me. I come to look at cattle and buy cattle, and we have before, but help pay for that meal. So, but it is what an exceptional place.
I want everybody to understand that. You don't have to be a buyer to come and ask questions and see what's going on. See what we're really about, learn about Fred Linz. And like I said earlier, it's a great thing to meet Fred Linz. Very interesting man.
Yes, it is.
So, anyone's welcome, Andy, I guess is what I'm saying.
Right, and that's great.
Anyone's welcome to come.
That's great, yeah. The next sale, the bull sale, coming up January 25th, 2020. It is there at the farm in Crown Point. It is the third annual sale, but it is the first bull sale at Crown Point. Glenn, can you hit on that just a bit? Why move that to Crown Point now?
Well, what we really did when again, back to where we started the 5 years ago, of course, everyone knows my roots were in Wisconsin. Mm-hmm. So we had co-op herds in Wisconsin that weren't just your regular co-op herd. Fred couldn't buy land fast enough, and by Crown Point here, it's taken us a time to learn the community and learn the soil, really. I mean, it took me a while to understand the area. So in that time, in those couple of years, what we did, we had cattle where I knew the land and I knew the people. So we had some very good people in Wisconsin that took care of the cattle for us the first few years. The Chris brothers, which is in Darlington, which is where I was raised, they took care of a large amount of our cows. And then Matt, where we had our bull sale, Matt did a tremendous job, with the bulls and with our cows and calves, and we put a lot of embryos in up there. But we eventually had to make the decision. We were spending so much time on the road because it was about 4 hours away to go to Brenneman's, up to Matt Brenneman's, and then another hour if you shot south to where the Chris brothers were. And we were eating up a lot of time. A bull sale takes a great deal of picturing, clipping, and then clipping again and videoing and just all the preparation for the bulls and learning your cattle, Andy. I mean, it was hard for me to know our bulls without seeing them daily. And that frustrated me a great deal. And eventually we moved all the cows home because we did find more land in Indiana.
Mm-hmm.
We found farms, and we found some good people, a lot of help. And we found some facilities because, you know how much facilities it takes to house 1,100 cows.
Mm-hmm.
So we came back to Indiana, and we brought everything home. So basically last November, every Linz animal was brought back to Indiana. And that's when we made the decision. We had our last bull sale in Wisconsin last February, and we moved the date to January 25th because Jeremy Haig, who's another good Indiana boy, he, that was the date he had available, was January 25th, and that's how we ended up on that date because he had sales on, of course, we left the Gaffneys, which are very good friends of ours, so they kept that sale date. So we couldn't have that weekend, and so we moved it to the 25th and moved back to Indiana. And we're hoping for a good response. We sold as many bulls to Indiana as we did Wisconsin. That was another determining factor.
Mm-hmm.
Even though the sale was in Wisconsin, Indiana people were supporting us. So it was just it was just a progression that was eventually going to happen, Andy.
Great.
So that's how we ended up back in Indiana.
That's great, yeah. And then in Crown Point on January 25th, I'm sure it's going to be 60 and sunny and dry, right?
Well, I would like 18 and sunny. That would be great. Frozen would help because I can tell all of you, I don't know if you're all from Indiana who will be listening, but this state gets a lot of rain.
Right.
I thought I moved to Florida when I got here. I mean, that Lake Michigan, that son of a gun is that lake effect deal that we get by being so close to Chicago is something that takes a while to get used to.
Mm-hmm. And you guys are
no question.
You guys are putting up with 5 inches here recently, 5 inches of rain here recently over a weekend, and so that on that ground has got to be challenging. Right.
Yeah, that's what I mean. 2 weeks. I'm pretty sure it's not going to get 80 and dry up between now and the sale.
Right.
So
right.
I'm praying for some cold weather. Then. Cold weather would be great, just not snow.
Right.
Just nice and cold.
Right. Right. Well, the third annual performance tested bull sale at Linz Heritage Angus, again, January 25th. And if you've got your catalog, hopefully you do, you've got your catalog. If not, you can find that catalog online as well. If you've got your catalog, well, we're going to have Glenn go through this just a little bit, talk about some of these bulls, talk about some of the females behind some of these bulls, and introduce these to you for the sale here on the 25th of January. Glenn, just looking through this. Go ahead.
No, you go ahead. You go ahead, Andy.
Well, I was just going to say, looking through this, just what a set of powerful bulls, a set of powerful genetics, numbers, look on these cattle, and I am very excited to hear what you have to say about these bulls.
Well, I'm very proud of the set of bulls again, Andy. I mean, it's a little diverse. Like I said, like we've talked all along, the way our herd is, the bull sale is very diverse. I'll start out at the beginning of the book, I guess, and thumb through a few of these. Of course, the lot ones are out of probably our most famous cow. The 453 cow was bought last fall. We sold half interest in her to two good people from Indiana, the Nowatzki family and the Maple Lane family. Bought half interest in 453 for $150,000. And I'm very proud to say that they've nearly paid for her in the first year. So she's that kind of an income-producing cow. She's averaging $79,000 on her first 8 daughters that have been sold at public auction.
Wow. So
as you can imagine, we're very proud of the sons of this cow also. We've got, I think, 11 sons in registered herds out of this cow. The lot 1 and 2 won't disappoint anybody. They're both Discovery sons, so they're full brothers to the $200,000 high-selling animal that we've ever sold. The 1 is the top Discovery there is. He's the number 1 marbling and ribeye bull out of Discovery. He's a buck. He's a $1.5 on marbling and a $1.8 on ribeye, which is hard to do in one animal. His brother is a $120 on marbling, which is sensational also, but his ribeye is .98, so he missed the buck just by 0.2. But they're very high dollar beef bulls, very high T bulls, just tremendous bulls out of that cow. The cow never misses. There's no question about that. The next bulls we've got out of a young sire from Vintage called Enterprise. Same kind of deal, just phenomenal set of numbers. Not quite like Discovery, but he's a Discovery son. But he's a touch more growthy. You'll see the thickness of these Enterprises will sure to please people. We've got Whitlocks out of her. We sold one Whitlock son of her last year for $10,000. Went to John Raftopoulos in Colorado. Exceptional bull. Takes semen on him. We have 4 other brothers in this sale. We've got one Blaster brother out of the cow, and Blaster's another one of our bulls that we chose for females. He's owned by Musgrave right here next door in Illinois. Very sound bull, very all-around good bull. Then we move on to our next bulls, which is lot 12, 13, and 14. These are all Flush brothers by D.L. Dooley. A very popular bull. His untimely death has made him even more popular. Very powerful cattle. The most powerful cattle I've seen since active duty himself. These bulls are thick, and they're out of the Black Cap May family again. These are sisters to 4136 that they're out of, the Great Shock Cow. So these bulls will disappoint no one phenotypically. Very powerful. Big yearling weight, very high dollar beef for Dooley sons. That's 12, 13, 14, and 15. Probably the best bull in the sale for an all-around bull is a lot 16 bull. It's out of 3190, which is a full sister to 3189, which is, again, one of our most famous cows that I've ever raised. Daughters are in every major herd in the country, really starting to take off. Very, very proud of this bull. He's another Dooley son. Very low birth again, very high growth. Just all around breed excellence. But this bull's special because he was of the fall bulls, which again, we graze our fall bulls on grass all summer. And so they went from grass right to getting scanned. So they all had less than 1/10 of back fat. But this Dooley son was 2/10 higher on IMF than any other bull of the fall bulls. And he didn't have any contemporaries because he was my daughter owns the cow, so he couldn't contemporary against anyone, but he was 2/10 higher with almost 6/10 of back fat, or 6% back fat with less than 1/10 of back fat, or 6/10 of IMF with less than 1/10 of back fat. But that wasn't even the greatest thing about the bull. He had like 1,190 pound yearling weight, again, because they were not fed, and he had almost a 17-inch ribeye.
Wow.
He was 6 inches larger than his weight, which is unheard of. So this is a very special bull. I'm hoping he generates some excitement. So we'll see. But he's another one of the very best bulls in the sale. He's got a brother by Acclaim, lot 20, which is another exceptional phenotypic bull. He's one of Acclaim's best phenotypic bulls I've ever seen. Same cow, just very good. We've got some more Acclaim sons. Then we go to lot 26, which is out of the great herd bull producing, the mother of Driving Force and the mother of, she's our high-selling cow when it comes to bull average. It's the only son. It was her natural calf last year by Accuracy. Another one of them, just all around very good numbered bulls. And then we go to lot 27 and 28. They're out of 3189, which was the cow that sold for $130,000 2 sales ago, and our females to Southern Ranches out of Wyoming. Wilkes Ranch bought a daughter in that same sale for $87,000. She had another son sell. We call him Paymaster. Was sold to the Decades Group to Dr. Bills down in Tennessee. Very, very, very good bull producing cow. These will be some of the most sought after bulls in the sale. Be lot 27 and 28. Then we had two president sons out of that same cow, which is lot 47 and 48, and they're probably the 2 stoutest bulls in the sale. Just incredible power. in them two bulls. Then we went to the Shifting Gear sons, which is the Linz Shifting Gear. He's our big Cavities bull, and we have about 12 sons of him. A couple of them are stud worthy as far as their EPDs, and I guess we'll find out how good they are when people come to see them. Very physical bulls, but extreme set of EPDs. Exceptional EPDs for calving ease, dollar beef, and growth. And then, ironically, people have laughed and have looked at the catalog that two of the, what was that, Andy?
Glenn, those start at 53. Is that correct? The Shifting Gears bulls you're talking about?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, 53 through 61.
Okay.
So after that, a whole bunch of Colonel sons. We're very happy with the Colonel, and some tremendous flushes out of him. That would be lot 65 through 72 out of a couple donors that we're very high on. 3276 was the high selling. She's still the record selling open female at National Western Show where we bought her. So we're very excited about those bulls. Those are some of the best Colonels. And then a lot of people laugh, but my true belief is the best flush in the entire sale is out of another sire that we own called Master Plan. And he died again also. No one has seen him because he died after about 3 jumps out at Origin, and he got stifled. And anyway, these last 4 bulls, 79 through 82, may be the best bulls in the sale. I'll let it up to the people to decide, but the lot 82 bull is as good a bull as we can raise, and he's not even pictured, which is unfortunate. We had a little mishap on picture day. He was missing his tag, and the people we hired to clip didn't clip him, and so he wasn't ready when we came to picture. And unfortunately, anyone listening, come look at lot 82, and I'm pretty sure you'll believe me that he is a very special bull. In fact, his 3 brothers are all pictured, and as you can see by their pictures, they're physically phenomenal also. Again, these are all-around bulls, maternal, good carcass, not crazy numbered in any way, just very balanced. Those Master Plan sons are. And that'll kind of round out the book, Andy. There's 80, I think we're selling 83 bulls. We've had a few injuries to a few bulls. That's why I didn't even mention a couple of them because they were injured. I'm sure we'll get another knick-knack or two between now and the sale with moving them from the bull facility to the Crown Point location, then because you all know what it's like to haul bulls and unload them. Mm-hmm. But we should hopefully sell about 78 to 79 bulls, hopefully sale day. We've got a few bulls that are already, that the injured bulls we've replaced with other bulls. Of course, we'll have sheets for that on sale day. All the bulls have been scanned. The yearling bulls we just scanned this week, so that data hopefully I will have back next week, and hopefully it'll get to their EPDs the following week before the sale. So the fall bulls were all scanned last fall. The fall bulls are in excellent condition. These bulls are not fat. Our spring bulls I'm very proud of them. I'll be anxious to get their scan data back. We're about 100 pounds lighter than I used to get the bulls, but I'm very happy with them. To keep the fat off of them, we've changed the ration a little bit, and I think they're going to be ready to go to work. Very proud of them, Andy.
Glenn, where can we go to see some videos on these bulls and things like that?
The videos will be coming out. In fact, they should be out now that I think about it. I haven't called him. That's a good thing you mentioned that, Andy. The videos were done over like 7-8 days ago. We're putting some out on Facebook now, but you can go to Linz Heritage Angus and find them, or you can go to live auctions. They will have it. Live auctions will be their sale day, of course. They'll start doing them, and, of course, YouTube. But if I remember right, I believe they're going to go online tomorrow on Monday.
That'll be Monday the 13th.
Adam Swaggart. Yes, Adam Swaggart does our videoing and picturing. He's very good. And I'm fairly sure, if I remember right, he told me that on Monday. A bunch of them I've got back already. But I'm pretty sure on Monday that they'll be up online everywhere.
Right. Right. Who else is involved with this sale? We've got who else could we get a hold of if we need to know some information, have somebody go look at a bull or two? Who else can these guys call?
Jeremy's been up. You know, Jeremy from the Hall of Fame, who runs the sale. Jeremy's been up a couple times, seen the bulls. He's been here many times. He knows the cows, of course. Knows the herd as good as anybody. And he's seen them many times. Of course, our vets are excellent, stock vets down in Rensselaer. They're very good. They've seen the bulls many times. I mean, other than that, it'd be just, the people that work here and me. And you can give Ben, Fred, or me, or Jeremy a call. And anybody that, and Dylan also. I see Dylan's number's not in the book. That was a mistake, evidently. But we'll get his number in there next year, and you can contact him. He's seen the bulls and worked them, and the docility is another thing I'll tell you about. Phenomenal. We just scanned all those bulls the other day, and most of them licked you to death while you were scanning them. So very proud of the docility. I mean, there's not a mean bull in the sale. I'll promise you that. Not a single bull that you have to risk even thinking about. We culled very hard. So you got to remember too, Andy, these bulls we're selling, we still have about 100 bulls on the farm. And you remember, we're a large herd. We culled 150 bulls to get down to this 100.
Mm-hmm.
So these bulls have been picked through very hard, and we've been very critical on structure, feet, all around docility. I mean, these bulls have been culled hard already. So you should be very happy with your purchase.
Right. Great. And also inside that front page of the catalog, you can see some guarantees on these bulls. You can see some different information there inside that first page of that catalog. And you go to liveauctions.tv, and that catalog is there online as well. So another way that you can look at that and get some more information about that sale. The events there, always big events at Linz and at the sale and at the sale facility. And Friday, have cattle available there all day Friday that people can come and look at. And then again on Saturday, the sale starting at 7, cattle will be available for viewing. And something you do not want to miss is at noon, the complimentary lunch. Served up by Linz Heritage, and as you mentioned earlier, Glenn, that's the reason you bring other people to come with you, and if nothing else, an excuse to go to the sale for that lunch and the meal. But then while you're there, 2:00 starts the Linz Heritage Bull Sale, and those are Central Standard Time, so don't get mixed up with that. Being in Indiana, that's a little bit different than the others of us that are on Eastern Time. That is Central Time. So on January 25th, the 3rd annual performance tested bull sale at Linz Heritage Angus. And Glenn, I'm trying to get figured out how I can get up there and get back. And so hopefully I can make it up to the bull sale.
Well, that'd be great, Andy. You're always welcome. You know that.
Well, I appreciate that. Glenn, anything else you want to tell us about the sale, about the program, about anything before we close this one out?
No, I guess, again, all I would tell people is you don't have to buy a bull to come. I'd love for you to come and see the operation and just see what we're really about. We're all about educating and showing people what we're up to, and anybody that ever wants to go to the plant also. Just get in touch with me and I'll set it up.
Right. Well, that's great. Glenn Davis, appreciate the time very much here on Before the Bid and explaining the Linz Heritage operation and how you guys got started and that bull sale. And want to wish you a lot of luck here on the bull sale and on all these future endeavors that you and Fred have for this beef industry.
Thank you very much, Andy. It was great talking with you.
All right. I appreciate it very much. And that has been Linz Heritage Angus on this edition of Before the Bid. Thank you for tuning in to this edition of Before the Bid. For more information and to learn more about upcoming podcasts and sales, visit us at beforethebid.podbean.com or Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and Instagram pages. For information on being a guest on Before the Bid, please email us at beforethebid@gmail.com or one of our social media pages. Remember, that's beforethebid@gmail.com. Happy sales to you, and we will talk to you next time on Before the Bid.